WJBR HD3 Wilmington, W264BH Philadelphia. The new gospel music leader is Philly's favorite 100.7.
Great area. Great area. You are now tuned into the great area. Ain't black, ain't white, it's a great area.
Welcome into the great area. I'm your host, Shari Nycole, and that song right there by Kirk Franklin, Strong God, is certainly my heart's cry today. I'm sure many of you all can say the same. It has been, wow, a roller coaster ride of a week, but I think we can all attest to the fact that God has still been very faithful to all of us, myself, of course, because I'm getting an opportunity to come and speak to you guys once again on this beautiful Sunday night, and because you're listening to me. So although things are tough, I want to encourage everybody with that song that God is still very much present in our lives. He's definitely in control, and he definitely has our best interest at heart. So be encouraged, be encouraged, be encouraged. I'm so happy to bring another episode of The Great Area to you guys today. And for those who are still sleeping, the great area is the place where, in a world of extremes, taboos, and biases, is often very complicated to meet in the middle, or as I like to call it, the gray area. And it's where topics we avoid but need to tackle exist. It's where people on both sides of an issue find understanding. The gray area is where we learn new things about others and ourselves. And what better way to do so than with two of my amazing guests today, author and award-winning motivational speaker to the masses, Mr. Keith L. Brown, and former host of Sister Circle Live, TV and radio personality, and actress Rashawn Ali. And these are two people that I absolutely love, like in real life, and adore, and their energy and their story is very much needed on today's show. So I'm so happy God aligned this to the extent that I can speak to them in particular today. And I know you guys are really going to get a lot out of it. So before I get to those amazing conversations, I just wanted to kind of touch base with you guys a little bit about what's going on. I know it's been challenging for everybody this week, and the news of the passing of Chadwick Boseman hit me extremely hard. I'm sure it hit most people very, very hard. Hollywood was just knocked to its knees, and no one really saw this coming. And so once again, it seems like another blow that we've experienced as a people and as a culture, and also for anyone who just adored Chadwick and what he brought to the table as far as his acting and his philanthropy was concerned. And I want to leave you guys with this about Chadwick. I had an opportunity to meet him at the 2014 NAACP Image Awards, and I have to say, he had a very humble spirit, very meek, and just a nice guy, not unassuming. He was very much kind of to himself, didn't make a big fuss about himself at all. And at that point, he definitely had earned his stripes in Hollywood. And so I just remember him being very kind. And as I followed his career, I was just in such awe of how he was able to navigate the entertainment industry, in my opinion, so flawlessly, in the roles of Black Panther and James Brown and Jackie Robinson and Thurgood Marshall. The list goes on. And to think that many of his best work, a lot of his best work was done when he was in some of his lowest points, and just want to think about our own lives. And I would hope that this would take us to a place where we can all pause and think about our own lives and think about the things that we want to accomplish, the things that we've accomplished, the things that we should be doing to accomplish our goals, and understand that Chadwick leaves us with a legacy that's laced with absolutely no excuses. And so I've even reflected on my own life and some of the things that I've done professionally in particular, where I was stressed or anxious or frustrated about the conditions I was in, instead of just kind of working harder to push through those conditions and to see purpose. And I think Chadwick Boseman is a prime example of what pushing past your pain and pressing into purpose looks like. So for those who were impacted by Chadwick Boseman, for those who were just first introduced to Chadwick through his loss, for those whose lives he touched, I just want to encourage you all. I'm encouraging myself right now, and I just, continued prayers and well wishes and peace, God's peace, to his family and friends and all who loved him. And also, for those who are still kind of not aware of what happened with the situation with Chadwick, and he passed away of colon cancer, a battle that he had been fighting privately for 4 years. And I was on Facebook the other day, and I was looking at someone's status, and it really resonated with me. And they said, it's hard enough going through things, when you have tough times and challenges, but it's got to be pretty lonely to go through something very traumatic and go through challenges alone. And alone meaning in private. And a lot of times when you go through things in private, there is an element of loneliness attached, which says to me that this man was stronger than most. And so, I just want us to really think about legacy. I think that's another thing that God is really calling us to do in this hour, is to really examine legacy, our own legacies, the legacies of those in our family, the legacies of those that we've lost, and to look at the work that still needs to be done and then examine how we can get it done. And so I'm just really, although sad and very much grateful that someone like Chadwick Boseman graced this earth with his presence for 42 years. So grateful. Also, another thing that kind of rocked us, the Jacob Blake shooting is still something that's very much on the forefront of all of our minds and hearts. And there have been lots of protests and things happening. And even earlier this week with the shooting that occurred, 17-year-old boy drives cross town and goes to Kenosha, Wisconsin in a protest and has an AR-15 strapped to his chest. He kills two people and injures another. And, this left me with such anger, frustration. It was really devastating for me because, again, here's another blow. And I don't know if anybody else has been feeling it, but it just seems to have to be blow after blow after blow after blow. And so, this one kind of rocked me to my core a little bit. And, obviously my heart continues to go out to the Jacob Blake family and for all the families affected, whether it with that shooting or whether what happened at the Kenosha protest. And it's just really important in an hour like this for us to all just continue to pray and seek wisdom and ask God to continue to lead us and guide us in the ways that he would have us to go. Because it's very easy when you get frustrated to go in the way that you want to go. And so we need to make sure that we're going in the way that God wants us to go. And I was talking to my family. We have a family text, and the day after the Kenosha protest shooting happened, I told my family in the text, I'm just having a tough time processing all of this. This is just really, really hard for me. And my dad, he responded with with the wise words that he always does, because he's very spiritually sound and grounded. And so sometimes, I can go off the handle a little bit and have a tough time. And he has a beautiful way of reeling me back in, along with so many other people. And he wrote this text, and I want to share it with all of you because it definitely blessed me. And I'm certain it will bless and encourage you as well. So he responded to me and said, "Our hurt, anger, and frustration is real. These are the attributes that God has as well. And he made us to have these feelings. Therefore, he understands them. Everything we feel is no different than what Jesus felt as he walked on this earth. Everything we feel right now, he felt. That's why he said, 'Come unto me, who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest.' Knowing that we would feel anger, he gave us permission to be angry. He just told us to be angry and sin not. In other words, don't allow that anger to drive us spiritually to a dark place. And don't allow anger to motivate our actions and cause us to be disconnected from him. God is still our refuge and our strength. He's still our present help in times of trouble. He is still our peace in the midst of a storm. And we're definitely in one right now. If we get quiet, we can feel him, because wherever we go, and no matter what happens, he's always right there. No truer words, no truer words. And after that, I have to say, I felt much better. And I hope you guys feel much better after hearing that as well. And with that said, I'm going to segue on over to Mr. Tim Bowman. And I love this song. It's called I'm Good. And that was Tim Bowman. I'm Good. I love that song because it gave me a bunch of energy. And now I'm lit. And I'm excited because I get to talk to none other than, he's an author. He's an award-winning motivational speaker to the masses. He's a good friend. His name is Keith L. Brown, and he's here joining me on the Gray Area right now. Keith, how you doing?
I'm empowered, not devoured. Superfluous Shari Nycole. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Let me tell you something, Keith. I'm going to be real with you. I am so glad that you're on the show today. And for those who don't know, because no one knows this but me and you, but I booked you, it was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, not knowing that anything that has transpired in recent weeks would happen. And so I'm just so grateful that God aligned things for us to talk today. I'm great. I want to thank you so much for your spirit and your heart. And I'm going to tell the people one more other thing about you, because I need people to understand what real service looks like and what just being a friend and a servant looks like. I have another show on Instagram called Just a Thought, and you tune in all the time. And after one of my shows, you said, "Great job. You gave me words of encouragement," and then you just cash apped me some money for lunch out of nowhere. I will never forget that. Because people don't do that. And also people don't know sometimes how much a gesture like that means to another person. And so, I was dealing with some difficult times and trying to work through, losing my job because of COVID and a lot of different things that happened. And I just want to let you know that really meant something to me. And I wanted to thank you for that. I really, really do.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for being the media maven that you are. And specifically, you've done so much and you're so accomplished. But I want to thank you for your work on finding our missing, because that was powerful. Because they were young people, they were young adults, and I have a heart for young people and young adults across the world. So when you were working on finding our missing and what you have done, News One Now, all the history that you have brought to the stage, that you have brought to your profession, I just want to thank you because I don't think people understand the media maven you are. So I want to thank you, and I'm delighted, ignited, and excited to be on your show. And I do have to give a shout out to my awesome publicist, the best publicist on the planet, Adrian Alexander Allen with the IPY Agency. Yes, Adrian Alexander Allen, IPY Agency, always making it happen for me and all of her clients nationally and globally. But I just want to say to you that God has aligned everything, and I want to encourage everybody who's listening across the country, my people who are listening across the country, who downloaded the app all the way from Sheffield, England tonight, who are listening in.
Come on in.
Yes, come on. I just want them to know to make time to release, relax, and restore. See, it's during these times we have to make time to release, relax, and restore. Every day I laugh and every day I cry. That's my release. Every day I laugh, every day I cry. That's my release. And then when I relax, I get in a place of oneness where I can meditate, where I can get away from all of the nonsense, all of the craziness, and can just meditate. That's my relaxed time. And then I restore, and I build myself back up so I can travel the globe, whether in face or virtually, being Keith L. Brown, Mr. I'm Possible. And so let's get it on and popping for all of your listeners tonight.
I love it. And you mentioned faith, and I want to start there. What are some of the ways that we should attack fear with faith? Because I believe that they intertwine very much so throughout the course of life, and sometimes we may not understand how to maneuver through both and the relationship that they both have. So what are the ways that we should be thinking about how to attack our fear with faith?
Oh, well, the bottom line is this. The problem lies in the fact that everyone is telling everyone to be so strong. And because we are believers, we believe that if we show any sign of fear or any sign of weakness, that minimizes our belief system, when in essence, it maximizes your belief system. So I tell people, don't be strong, be yourself, because during these times, only God can strengthen you and bring you to the point that you're supposed to be. So doesn't matter if you have a sense of fear, a sense of trepidation, a sense of uncertainty, then go to the throne. But if you go to the throne strong, there's no need for God. And you got to stop listening to those. You have to stop listening to those who did not breathe the breath of life in you. See, that's the issue, and that's the problem, that we're listening to those who did not create us. We're listening to those who don't put food on our table, clothes on our back. We are listening to the wrong sources. And I'm going to be real with you on tonight. There are even men and women of God who are beckoning their members to come back to the sanctuary, to come back to church. They're criticizing them, telling them if you're not coming back, you don't have faith, you're living in fear. Well, I call those individuals and those institutions non-profit organizations, P-R-O-P-H-E-T. Let me say that again, P-R-O-P-H-E-T, non-profit organizations. So the way you maximize your faith is by taking your fear to God, submitting unto him, and he will strengthen you. But there's no way during times like these that we've never seen before, COVID-19, unparalleled systemic racism, blatant killings of unarmed black men and women and young people in public, to the point, let me say this, to the point we were shaken, but we got really rattled when we saw that officer have his knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and had the nerve to look in the camera. See, we had never seen that before. So he had the nerve to look in the camera. So during these times, unparalleled times, I say face and embrace your fears. Take your fear to the throne, because only the Creator can strengthen you. And then you have to have those individuals like you, those sincere prayer warriors who will affect your life and not infect your life.
Man, you're one of those people. It's so tough to come behind you with a question, because you're just so smooth with it, Keith. I gotta give it up to you, man. You're just so smooth with it. But I'm glad you mentioned what's happening on the racial and social injustice front in this country, because I did want to ask you, as a black man and as a black man whose call is to empower others, how have you yourself coped with what's going on in the world around us right now?
Oh, it has been challenging, but the one constant that remains is my purpose and my calling, and understanding that I'm on a mission and not an intermission. With that being said, I'm not immortal. When my 25-year-old son leaves the house and he starts putting insurance cards in glove boxes, I'm like, no, don't put it there. Don't put it there. I don't care if you have to put it in your lap. I want your license. I want your insurance, the registration. I want it right there where you don't have to reach into any console and pull it out. And that's the reality that we're living in. And so even on my virtual tour, as we've been traveling, virtually to schools and colleges and universities in Wisconsin and Michigan and Illinois and Nebraska and Maryland, all over the country and globally, in places like England, where the same epidemic and pandemic is going on there, I'm still able to tap into the hearts, minds, and souls of people of color. I still have to do that. So with everything that's going on, I still have an assignment. And that's why that goes back to that release, relax, and restore. And everybody is saying, practice self-care, practice self-care. Let me go a little deeper. Don't just practice self-care. Practice self-I care. That's when you look in the mirror and you talk to yourself and you wait for yourself to respond. Because at the end of the day, self-care can be you going to the spa, but are you really renewed, or did you just rest for a while? But when you practice self-I care, that's when you're talking to yourself. You're challenging yourself to rise up, and you are comforting yourself in those most difficult, dark times and dark places. So don't just practice self-care, practice self-I care. And that's what has allowed me to emancipate and liberate hundreds of thousands across the globe just in the last 3 weeks.
You know what? That's such a great point. A lot. I'm guilty. As somebody who's busy, my idea of self-care is, okay, let's go get the pedicure, the manicure, let's go to get a massage and lay on the couch all day. But you're right. There is a level of introspective behavior that needs to happen, because that is also an integral component of self-care. So thank you so much for even bringing that to my attention in a renewed way. So I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better.
Absolutely. And let me just say this: being the woman of purpose that you are, many times, especially black women and women of color, you feel guilty when you practice self-I care.
Yes.
You feel
true.
guilty when you take time for yourself. And so on today, I need to give you permission to fortify yourself and to build yourself with no apologies, and make certain that you are surrounding yourself with people who are edifying you and encouraging you to do the same. Because at the end of the day, you might be a super woman, but you're not superwoman. So you can't do it all.
True.
And that's what I not only will tell you tonight, that's what I train my clients to do at the Impossible Institute. That's what we do, building and training and emancipating and enhancing those and enriching those who will go out and enrich the lives of others. And that's so very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's talk about I'm possible. I mean, this is your mantra. This is how you move in life. For those who don't know, how did you come into this realization, and how can all of us apply it to our lives?
I was labeled special ed and at risk all of my life. So even with my college degrees, it started off in a foundation of special ed and at risk and a potential menace to society. These were the labels. And I remember teachers telling me, Keith L. Brown, you talk too much. And now I get paid to talk. And so there were young people at the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia, and I have to give it up to the Sickle Cell Foundation. I lost a brother to sickle cell anemia. And those young people They labeled me Mr. I'm Possible. Because I used to have this exercise, and I would say if you put an apostrophe between the I and the M, impossible becomes I'm possible. And I talked about that over and over again. And the young people started calling me Mr. I'm Possible, and it stuck. And so I take individuals from impossible to it's possible to I'm possible. And let me throw this in real fast. That
Please do.
The impossible simply means that you have no hope. You have no chance. You have no opportunity. You've been counted out before you can be counted in or counted on. And so I encourage people to go from impossible. And how do you do that? You do that by a certain belief system where you never let anyone's negative opinion of you become your opinion of yourself, no matter your age. And then the second phase is never let anyone tell you what you can't do, especially if they've never done it. And then you move over to the next phase, which is it's possible. And it's possible is very, very powerful. And it's good because it says that it's possible. It can happen. It may happen. It should happen. But we can't stop there because then we leave our destiny up to chance. We have to transition until the final frontier, which is I'm possible. And when you say I'm possible, you are taking accountability for your destiny. You are taking responsibility for your purpose. And every day I wake up, I simply say, with him possible, I'm possible, being my Lord and Savior. With him possible, I'm possible. And so that's how you go from impossible to it's possible to I'm possible.
I love it. I love it. And you mentioned a little while ago that, you know, you're still very much speaking around the country and around the globe through Zoom and all the great things that God has blessed us to be able to use where we can still stay connected. What are some of the things in particular that you are working on right now and some things that we can look forward to hearing about from you moving forward?
Well, one of our main programs that we're promoting right now is Fathers Not Father, FATHERS, not FARTHER. And we've been empowering fathers to be more committed to their children and families, even if you are divorced from your ex or whatever it is. You may divorce your spouse, but you cannot divorce your children. So we're training dads to be more intricately involved. And ironically, black men are the most involved in their children's lives on a daily basis. So we're just encouraging them to keep that commitment going. And then we're going into the schools. We're going into the schools with our virtual platform, and we're training teachers on how to engage children and young people. We're telling parents that get those children up out of the bed and then let them transition from the bedroom to the bathroom to the living room, and let that living room be the classroom. Let that living room be the classroom. And what you do is, this is the key. You give that child or young person, if applicable, a certain area in the home other than the bedroom, and let that be the child's office. Because what that does is that gets the child prepared for the real world. And so that's their office where they can learn, where they can be responsive, where they can be engaged. And we're encouraging school districts across the country that those teachers have to amp up the energy now. We have to be more engaging with those young people. You know, you have to infuse the musical intelligence now, infuse some social media, do some videos on TikTok, whatever it takes to engage those young people. That's what we've been doing across the country. So we have been consulting across the country by the grace of God throughout this pandemic. So whether it's virtual or on site, I'm definitely going to take young people from impossible to I'm possible.
I love it. I love it. Well, you definitely took me, and I'm sure all of those listening, over that threshold as well. Keith, I want to tell you, thank you so much, man. I love you. Before I let you go, let everybody know how they can stay in contact with you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Keith L. Brown _ on Instagram. That's KEITH L. Brown _ on Instagram. Keith L. Brown 1911 on Twitter. And you can also hit me up at Adrian at the IPYAgency.com. That's ADRIENNE at the IPYAgency.com. I want to thank you for being a woman of purpose, being a woman of vision. I want to thank you for being the media maven that you are. I definitely hope to come back on the show.
And I just
want you. Thank you so much, my sister. And I want all of your listeners to do this. Every morning you wake up, all of your listeners, every morning you wake up and your feet hit the floor, you need to start clapping. And you need to start clapping when your feet hit the floor, because it might be the only standing ovation you receive all day. During this pandemic, you have to wake up, stand to your feet, applaud yourself, and understand that you have two options. Either you're going to make it or you're going to make it. I didn't say either you're going to make it or you're not. Either you're going to make it or you're going to make it. So listen, we are in this together. Stay masked up, regardless of what others say. Stay masked up, and let's stay prayed up, and let's be empowered together.
I love it. Keith Brown, thank you so much. I will talk to you soon, brother. I appreciate you.
Love you much. Be empowered, sister.
Thanks. All right, guys, before I bring my sister, Rashawn Ali, on, I just feel inspired to move on, to move forward. So here's Jonathan McReynolds featuring Molly Music. Moving on. I wish I had a sound effect for my next guest. I'm going to try to make one up in my mind. But before then, that was Jonathan McReynolds, one of my favorite artists, featuring one of my other favorite artists, Molly Music, with Moving On. What better way to usher in my sister? She has a lot of titles. I don't have a sound effect, so I hope this introduction is enough for her. So she was a host of Sister Circle Live. She's an actress. She's a TV and radio personality. She's a super mom. She's a philanthropist. She's an all-around amazing human being. She's my big sister, Rashawn Ali, on the line. Hi, Rashawn.
Hi, Shari Nycole. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just excited to be a part of the gray area.
Is it weird? Is this weird? Like I'm interviewing you? Is it weird to you?
Yeah, it really is. Like I was going to do some long in-feed Instagram post, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that yet. But like, I was like, you know, the mentee interviews, the mentor, that kind of thing. But I was like, nah, that wouldn't be right. She's been doing her thing.
Why not? That's fun, though. I like little stuff like that.
That would have been too fun, but yeah, I just decided on a Insta story, let people know where I was going to be and who I was going to be with. So I think that was apropos.
Yes. Well, I wanna thank you, Rashawn, and I want you to know that you are part of the reason why I'm able to sit behind this microphone and do this. So I really do want to thank you for always looking out for me, always being a resource for me, always being a great example. I've since meeting you 3 years ago, I've studied how you've moved in the industry, whether it be on Sister Circle in front of the camera or even behind the mic on radio. So just thank you for your example. I'm sure I'm one of many who have the same story as it relates to you, but I love you. I appreciate you. And I consider it an honor to have you on the Gray Area today. So thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're living and fulfilling the dream that you've always had. And so it's my honor and pleasure to be here for you today.
Yay. So I want to, sorry for those who don't like sports. I need to talk about sports a little bit because, Rashawn loves sports. I love sports. She used to be like a sportscaster and all that good stuff. So we got to go there for a second. So much happened in the sports world this week, Rashawn. The NBA kind of kicked things off in response to the Jacob Blake shooting. And we pretty much saw the sports world shut down for it's seemingly forever, but it really was only for about 24 to 48 hours. Kind of what did you make of all of that, and what's the biggest lesson you think we can all kind of take away from what went down in sports this week?
Yeah, I think, no longer is it this one person or a group of maybe 10 people saying change needs to be made. It is when you think about the NBA, the WNBA, Major League Baseball, the NHL, and even down to tennis, like people recognizing not only that there is truly a problem, but really trying to, knowing that, people cannot truly understand what we've been through or what we endure as Black people, but at least having or showing some type of empathy to what it is that we have endured for so long, because you have people that have never had to be in the space with Black people their entire lives and have lived this life that is just so beautiful with lilies and fences and grass and you have this perfect life. But that hasn't, even both of us growing up as middle-class children, we still face so many things that people will never know that we face as Black women, as Black athletes, all of these types of things. So to see when the Milwaukee Bucks took that, they said, we are going to do something here. I don't even know if they knew the magnitude of their particular action, how it would play out with other. I don't think that they knew that it was going to be, play out like it did. But to see everybody, you talk about Major League Baseball when there's only a handful of black players.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Exactly.
And the NHL too. I couldn't believe it in the National Hockey League.
I could not believe it. But it's people are like, okay, with Jacob Blake, they're like, okay, now I really see, like, there's a big difference here. There's a big difference here. You have this guy with a rifle, this 17-year-old boy, literally walking down the middle of the street with a rifle.
It's unbelievable.
Because of the color of his skin. Do you understand? This boy gets to stand trial. Jacob Blake cannot stand anymore.
Correct.
Let's get into that.
Yeah.
Okay? This white boy who's 17 years old gets to stand trial, and Jacob Blake cannot stand. Okay? There it is right there. So I thought that it was huge. And the fact that these guys went into meetings where they fought. I heard that LeBron was in there making demands, and some younger players didn't like it, but they fought it out. And they planned it out, and they made sure that the plan was going to be, and they are making sure these owners who have all of this money and all of this power to open up the Staples Center, to open up State Farm Arena here in Atlanta, to make sure these places are available for people to come and vote with all this voter suppression. They're making sure that those things that they set in place for those things to be done are done, and they are holding people accountable. This is not just something that they did like, oh yeah, we're gonna hold out, and nothing's in place. These things, they made a plan. They said these are the demands that we want, and you have the power with all these billions of dollars to pay us millions of dollars. Then you have to do what you have to do with your privilege and your skin color to make things happen. And so I'm very happy, and they're going to hold these owners accountable. They're like, this is the deadline. We need this to happen. So I'm happy that finally sports and these athletes are using their platform to make a real difference. And they knew that the eyes were on them. Everybody wants sports, especially people like you. I'm looking at high school football.
We just need something. We just need something.
Me and my husband were literally looking at ESPN like, oh, what, Austin Peay playing? You would have thought it was UGA and Tennessee last night. We in that mug, like, we are looking at this. But so
whatever we can get, Rashawn.
Whatever we can get. But I'm just happy that they know that America's eyes are on sports because we've missed it so much. And what better way to make a statement than the most popular black men in the world saying, man, if I didn't have on these high tops, if I didn't sell y'all my jersey or the things that I'm making money off of, if I was out here in Kenosha, Wisconsin, doing the same thing that Jacob Blake did as a 6'6" black man, I would be just like Jacob Blake with 7 shots in the back of my back because you all only honor me because I play this game. They're still black men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. The mere thought of it is heavy, and it definitely, as a former athlete, I this one hit me differently, but I am, as you said, very much encouraged by what was going on. I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. A lot of people across the country have come to adore you through Sister Circle Live. Many, of course, knew you before then, but your reach definitely expanded due to the show. And I was a producer on the show. That's where we initially met. And, the show ultimately came to an end. And I know that some people would look at something like that as a quote unquote failure. I know that we don't.
No.
But you've moved through this industry in a way, Rashawn, where you've experienced, quite a few disappointments, lots of highs, lots of lows. Kind of how has your faith anchored you in moments like the loss of a Sister Circle Live or like the loss of another gig, and then getting and kind of careened you to a place where you move into another opportunity that seemingly was better than what you just lost. Kind of talk to me about that journey.
I think I had to go through all of those different scenarios of quote unquote what people would deem failure to be able to get to the point when we found out about Sister Circle on that Thursday in April. And my reaction was completely different from times that it happened before. And And those who are in the entertainment industry know that you're the best thing on Monday, and on Friday you could be you're replaceable. Everyone is replaceable in this industry, no matter how gifted and talented you are. And I always say talent can only take you so far. But I have been able to truly navigate. And this time, Sister Circle, and I will tell you, you already know this, obviously, but we're speaking to an audience that doesn't know this. Sister Circle made me better professionally. I'm much better as a professional. I know how to navigate conversations on national television. I know how to, I know how to pick up certain things when things may have fallen apart. I know how to do all those things. But I had to really look at myself in a different way, because that camera is always on you. And it's not the camera that is showing the people who you're interviewing or the demo that you're doing. But I had to look at myself in a different type of way. And so personally, Sister Circle made me better. And so when Sister Circle was no longer, because I had begun the work of therapy, meditation, really looking into who is Rashawn. And when this is all said and done, what type of legacy am I going to leave? And after losing a Chadwick Boseman on Friday, I want people to speak of me in that type of light. The greatness that she stood for, the grace. I want all of those words to be spoken about me, because what we didn't know in the last 4 years was that this man was in pain. And he chose purpose over pain. And so, and the fact that he had an amazing team that did not reveal his illness to the world. So he was able to work in his purpose. So I look at a life like his, and God has granted me another day to live, to speak to you tonight. That means I have another opportunity, that my time here is still filled with purpose. And everybody's like, throw 2020 away. Hashtag, the bad word 2020. I can't do that, because God has given me another day to live. And so we have an opportunity to continue to have an impact on our hyphen or our dash, then I'm here to do that. So you talk about the pivot. I've been able to pivot because Sister Circle really prepared me for the pivot, not only professionally, but more importantly, personally. I am better because of that show, because I was able to, the camera became a mirror to who I really was, and had to face her and become better from it. And so that's why I wake up tomorrow. I don't know what's on my agenda tomorrow. I don't know. I could do a podcast. I could host or moderate a show, or I could make my children some breakfast. But I'm okay with all three of those things, because I'm so anchored in who I am, because I was able to learn more about who Rashawn was because of my experience on Sister Circle. So nothing can shake me. Nothing.
I love it. So in that same vein, we talk about this mirror. What in reflecting back and in the wake of, Sister Circle being over in particular, when you looked in that mirror and thinking about the experience that you had, what did you see that you loved that you didn't see before Sister Circle began?
Ooh. I loved just about me, or just about the show?
Yes, Rashawn Ali.
Me.
Yes. I like to challenge.
I just love that. Right. Yeah. I just love that I have always been about the people. I've always been. I think this through everything that we've endured with our relationship and everything. Like, I just have always been about making sure everybody felt good. And everybody wanted, everybody was great. Even forsaking my own self to be.
Yeah, I was about to go there with you. I was about to go in that direction, Rashawn. Are you getting better with that?
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely, I am. But you had to learn from those experiences to be like, sis, make sure you good now. And so I would, but I do figure I do love that characteristic about myself, because I'm a real giver, and I want to make sure that people around me feel good, that they feel great. But I do not make it greater than my concern or my love for myself. I used to give it all away. Now I'm like, sis, are you good? Yeah. I take care of myself now. My meditation and prayer in the morning is is all about filling my cup, and then I give it out. But I used to pour from an empty cup, and then I would be completely depleted because I had given it all away to make sure everybody around me was okay, and then I wasn't. But I was able to recognize that in Sister Circle. But I still love that characteristic about who I am because I'm still that person, but I pour from a full cup now.
I love it. I love it. One of the things that you mentioned a few moments ago, you talked about prayer, meditation, and you also mentioned therapy. And I know that, you know, you going to therapy has been a big part of your healing and wholeness journey in recent years. And one of the things that, you know, is often discussed in the faith-based community is that, you know, being a Christian or what have you and going to therapy, they don't mesh. You don't, you know, a lot of people are still in that box. You know, what would you say to those who are still, you know, who or of the Christian faith in particular, who may still have reservations about therapy? What would you say to them?
I believe that God created each of us to be beautifully who we are. You are an amazing on-air talent, but you're also an equally talented producer. I'm a TV personality, philanthropist, all these things that God made me. But there are people who help people become better, and they are counselors, they are psychologists, and they are psychiatrists. And my psychologist in particular, she still blends in God, faith, all of those things. But God made those people to help us become better. And there's a way to couple both of those things. I pray and I meditate and I journal and I talk to my therapist every week. So for those people who have become, I always say God plus therapy. And I always preach that because I don't know who I would be sitting in this moment, speaking with this much confidence had I not been in therapy for a year and a half, coupled that with prayer and meditation. I know I would not be this strong. I know I would not be able to endure what has happened, COVID-19, and everything that has happened to Black people, and also us losing so many of the people that we honor and love, and be able to cope. Now, don't get me wrong, Shari, I cried while I was on hold to get on this show tonight, looking at a tribute to the beautiful Chadwick Boseman. And I also cried a couple of days ago, but it's okay to let those tears out because we are experiencing a lot.
Yeah.
And it's only so much that you can endure with your, and I had to talk to my therapist because she was like, Rashawn, you went from trauma to being so positive that you're not recognizing that there's some stuff going on.
Wow.
She was like, she said it's not an either or, it's an and. Yes, I am very positive. I'm grateful for where I am. And there's a lot of stuff going on. But I was so positive that I was not recognizing that there's some stuff going on here, Rashawn. We've got a lot to endure, but you don't have to. I was trying to escape it so much that I was all the way in the positive that I was not recognizing the trauma that we are still enduring. So it was an and. So I literally was crying almost profusely on that call because I had become too positive that I wasn't recognizing that things were going on. So there is an and. It's not an either or. So I've been able to stand in it now. I'm like, yes, sis, you got two children in virtual learning. You got a husband in virtual learning. They need food. You don't have a job, quote unquote. Even though I'm working with major brands and getting the money that I need to be able to survive, it's still a lot. You know, people are dying. Some of your favorite stars are those things. But you have to recognize it. Still recognize it. You don't have to live in it, but you still got to recognize that it exists. And so I had to learn to be able to say "and" instead of
wow.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's so profound because it's like tucking yourself under that like positivity blanket. Sometimes when other people perceive it, it can come across like you're apathetic when really you're not. And I'm not speaking about you in particular. I'm just saying in general, when people do that, sometimes people that they're in the company of don't understand that yes, they recognize what's going on that may be traumatic, but they're choosing the other route to take, and it seems so extreme to other people. It's like, do they even care about what's going on? So it's very.
Yeah.
I'm glad you shared that, because that's a very profound thing, and it also speaks to the gray area. You know, it's part of the gray area. It's not black. It's not white. It's not positive. Not negative. It is what it is. It's an and. So I thank you for sharing that, Rashawn. Before I let you out of here, what are some of the things that you have going on that people can look out for from you as we move forward?
Well, I'm continuing to figure everything out, but I have somebody who I'm working with to really spruce up my marketing for my podcast, the Cool Soror podcast, which you've been a part of, where I interview women in Black Greek letter organizations. So coolsoror.com or at Cool Soror on Instagram. I hired somebody to help. Look, I'm telling you, when you pay people for their services, things turn around. Sometimes you just can't have things for free.
You got to pay the people.
So, exactly. So I have a PR company that is helping me revamp my nonprofit, Sporty Girls, which encourages brown and black girls to participate in swimming, soccer, tennis, and golf. And just continuing to push forward and partnering with great brands for Rashawn Ali. So I'm just excited. I wake up with a spirit of anticipation every day. I write down what I want in my journal. I write down the things that I want to accomplish and have, or that I will, or that I am. I say I am every single day. And they will come true. But right now I really enjoy making breakfast for my family, making sure my girls' hair looks good in their braids, because we didn't have that, Shari. We were there in the mornings at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I didn't have that opportunity. So I enjoy the fact that I can actually do that. I'm at my brother's house, like 50 miles from my house right now, but I get to do that. I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I love it.
You know?
Rashawn. I'm happy for you. I tell you this all the time, and I'm so excited about all the amazing things God is doing, that he's going to do. I'm so grateful just to be able to witness it and to be a small speckle in the huge part that is your life. And I adore you. I love you. Hopefully I see you soon. We're going to mask up and social distance, because this is ridiculous. I haven't seen you in months.
It's too much. I know. It's all good. But yeah, Rashawn Ali on Instagram, at Rashawn Ali on Instagram. You can find me anywhere at Rashawn Ali.
Perfect. Rashawn, thank you so much. I'm going to have to bring you back here sometime soon, so don't act too busy for me. That's all. No,
never that. I love you, man. I'm proud of you, man. I know you don't like the mushy stuff.
Yeah, don't do all that. No. But thank you, though.
I know. All right. I love you. I'm glad I got
Rashawn
that. That's
great.
great.
Yeah, that's all you're going to get, sis. I'm done with you. That's all you get. Love you, Rashawn. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. And thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me on another Sunday on the Gray Area. I'll see you guys again next Sunday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Philly's Favor. Peace.
Gray Area.